Right, hello and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Thursday and Long podcast. It is the last show before the last show on Sunday for us before Super Bowl 57. My name is Shane Harris. Above me is Oliver Hope. To my right is Phil Perrins. And in the top corner there, the OG god of this podcast, Mr. Oliver Butler Henderson. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this fine Thursday evening?
I'd just like to clarify, me and Ollie are both OG gods. It's not just him.
I know what you were going to say, boy.
But yeah, apart from that, I'm good. Excited for the Super Bowl. Got my Super Bowl program from 5-Star Imports delivered today. No golden ticket, unfortunately, but it just got me hyped for it.
I'm hoping mine will be arriving tomorrow. We can all hope.
I think you were going to say you were hoping for a golden ticket then.
Oh, mate, I'd love a golden ticket. Would love a golden ticket all day long. It is Super Bowl weekend, and I am absolutely buzzing for it. Just shame there's a proper team not in the final.
Always next year, but...
Yeah, I know. And the year after that,
Well, hopefully next year will be 49ers Patriots or 49ers Ravens Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think I'd be happy with that.
Well, 49ers Patriots.
I'll be all over 49ers Patriots.
The other one. Like we beat you the last time in the Super Bowl, like the last time. Yeah, I think I'd be the same result.
Yeah, well, we actually have a quarterback for next year, so good luck with that.
Well, let's hope so.
Anyway, he might not be fit, but we have a quarterback.
I want to ask you Niners guys a question, because CMC has been complaining about the rules and said they would have beaten the Eagles if they was able to suit up a third quarterback in there.
Yeah. I thought Shanahan and Lynch both said that should be a rule. I'm like, of course they're saying that because it would have benefited them.
Now, yes, I think the rules should be looked at because, the 49ers went through 4 quarterbacks in a season, okay? And I think if Purdy doesn't go down, I think the 49ers win. Hindsight's 2020, but I genuinely thought up until that point Purdy was playing really well. And then the injury actually had a massive effect on the team's game plan and the outlook and the morale. So I can definitely see why. However, news that's been coming out of the Bay this week, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about the 49ers because we don't have to until September now, is that Jimmy Garoppolo pulled a Michael Owen. And what I mean is that when Michael Owen played for Newcastle United all those years ago, in the final 2 games of the season that we got relegated, Michael Owen flat out refused to play football. Alan Shearer dropped him and they fell out because he didn't want to get himself injured. He didn't want to get himself injured. He didn't want to get himself injured and hinder any potential value that he could have in the free agency. What's slowly coming out of the Bay is that the reason why Lynch and Kyle were so cold in the press conference about Jimmy Garoppolo's future with the 49ers is that the rumors are circulating that he had the opportunity to suit up for that game to be an option, but he denied it in terms of he refused to suit up in the championship game because he didn't want to potentially get injured.
He's proved that before. Who was it? Was it Edelman that was talking about?
Yes, and I said this earlier on in the season about Jimmy Garoppolo and his injury. It's been rumoured and until it comes out confirmed, and I know Grant Cohn's kind of stoked the fire a little bit, but a lot of news outlets in the Bay are suggesting that Jimmy Garoppolo was deemed fit for the championship game, but he chose not to keep his value quite high in the off-season so that he doesn't get injured.
But there's all these ifs, buts, and maybes, and like you said, hindsight's 2020. But we will never know that whether if Purdy was fully fit for the whole game, whether the Niners would have beaten the Eagles or not.
Yeah,
and to be honest, I almost did. But anyway, no one would know who I was talking about. I was talking the Seahawks, would I? Because they're the Sea Chickens. But
what's the old expression, boys, with Jimmy G? Don't bite the hand that feeds you. It's all well and good you want to go somewhere else, but remember who writes the checks and pays your bills.
Yes.
If this is true, then he can F off.
Yeah. I mean, and I do think, I mean, this isn't the first time his durability or his commitment to playing for a team has come into question. Like you said, famously, Julian Edelman buried him on a podcast. And 49ers executives and staff and players have said in the offseason, Jimmy is very much, he's a disappearing act. Like, a lot of players will keep in touch. They go out, they do some training together. I know Debo and Ayuk did a lot of stuff with Trey in the offseason. Jimmy Garoppolo disappears for 3 to 4 months.
It's
without
it's
no
funny you say
contact.
that because I'm not sure if you guys watched the interview Lance did on the on the Rich Eisen show, but
He's
he
going in
talked.
on you guys today.
Dave,
Yeah.
mate, I appreciate your opinion, but you're completely wrong. Like, you're completely wrong.
But he
Brock
was
Purdy
talking,
wins Rookie of the Year. Of course, he gets the 49ers to the Super Bowl.
he was talking about how he was on the plane to Arizona with Christian McCaffrey and how close they are, and
Yeah.
he was just talking about the relationships. And Trey was like, "I'm going to be ready for OTAs," which is good, but I just think he was talking about how he wants to work with people before OTAs.
Yeah.
Yes, we got crushed by
should
the
we?
Eagles, Dave, because we didn't have a quarterback, and our defense has lost their heads because of that.
Yeah. Right.
Like I
Let's,
Still
said,
kept their
like-
offense down to 20 points. Like
like I said, ifs and buts and maybes, but let's not talk about that game anymore.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a crystal ball and we don't know what would have happened. And let's move on. to the
Quarterback
news
had no
this week.
factor on it.
let's
Oh
roll
my
on to
god!
news, 'cause there's a guy whose career that could have been so much better has
He did-
ended
he
after
did
12
he-
seasons.
He did end his career with a touchdown against the 49ers.
Yep, that's true. I mean, 12 seasons, 7 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pro teams, admittedly second All-Pro team, Rookie of the Year team, I mean, All-American of the college team,
mean-
SEC teams twice,
This guy had
freshman team of the year.
had 727 receptions for over 10,500 yards, 70 touchdowns. The question is he a Hall of Famer? Because I think there are worse wide receivers in the Hall of Fame.
He
Yeah.
could have had a better career. I mean, he missed a complete season through injury in 2019. He was injured. He had an injury in 2014, injury in 2016. Picked up a couple of knocks here and there for Arizona. He's one of those wide receivers who, if you'd put him in the right team at the right time, could have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you saying
Easily,
you
yeah.
don't think he's a Hall of Famer?
I think he's a Bengals Hall of Famer, 100%.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I think he's in their they call it like they're in a circle or they're in a
Yeah.
you know, like when teams have their
Or
own
like Roll
Hall
of
of Fame.
Honor thing.
Yeah.
Circle of Honor or whatever.
I
But
mean,
do
yeah,
you-
David's actually said something sensible so far in the show. His best years with the Bengals, absolutely, but he also had the red rifle throwing balls over his head for quite a long time of his career.
I
And-
think AJ Green has seriously helped Andy Dalton over the years in Cincinnati.
like
but-
Megatron and Stafford.
I think he does have a chance of potentially being Hall of Fame. I'm not saying he's going to be a first year Hall of Famer, definitely not. But if there's some weak years, who knows?
One thing I
Yeah,
didn't
I
know
mean,
about
go on, carry on, Shane. Sorry.
one thing I didn't know about him, he is second in Bengals career all time behind Chad Ochocinco in
Oh.
receiving yards, receiving touchdowns and receptions. I didn't know that.
I think
I love
Jamar
Ocho.
Chase. I think Jamar Chase is probably gunning for Ocho Cinco's record.
Yeah.
I think he is. I mean, apart from the years he didn't have double-digit games, he was in Cincinnati. He was a 1,000-yard receiver every season, bar 2, which he didn't make double-digit games in 2016 and 2018. He made 1,000 yards.
So Dave's just said had a lot of injuries late, which has pulled him back. And
Agreed.
something you'll probably like, Phil. Chad is a fucking G.
Chad is amazing. Like I always respected him, but like when he did Shannon
Sharp.
Sharp's show a couple of weeks ago now, I just like escalated because I don't know if you watched like the Dark Side of Football from like a year or so ago. Because there was a show called The Dark Side of the Ring, which was like a seedy show about like some of the dirty secrets in the wrestling business. And the NFL did a show. Well, I say NFL one, it's not. It was an official NFL one. But they did on Vice the dark side of football, and they did a whole episode on Chad Ochocinco, about like the controversies in his career, blah 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 blah. And I thought it did him dirty, even though he's directly involved in the show and he was like talking about his own experiences. And I didn't think he came across of it quite well. But I've always loved him as a character, as a person. He can be quite outspoken, but I've just always loved Ocho. Like he's
Anyway,
brilliant. He's exactly what the NFL needs.
Dave's actually started talking sense now.
Yeah, I said that like it's the first sensible thing he said all night.
All right, guys. All right.
His first
The
5
quarterback
minutes,
wasn't a factor, man. Imagine saying that in a sentence.
Bill B loved him apparently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so he's had a great career. You know, he was AJ Green. Could have been so much better, you know, if Cincinnati were better. You know, he was a 4th round pick. He was a 4th pick overall in the draft in 2011. You know, and there were some not bad players in that year. Not bad players. So let's give this guy a bit of love, you know, and he deserves the career, and he deserves probably a gold jacket at some point in his career.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but then again, you think Andy Dalton deserves a gold jacket. So yes, we're circling back to this comment you made on the podcast over a year ago that Andy Dalton was a Hall of Famer.
You're still believing I meant that. Love it.
He said Phil Rivers wasn't a Hall of Famer, and then about a week later said that he thought that Andy Dalton was.
I just can't believe I'm still getting a bite on that. It's absolutely brilliant. Don't get me wrong, Andy Dalton's not a bad quarterback at all, but
He's not a bad quarterback, but he is not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Right.
Max still outplayed Lance. Actually, I think Lance was outplaying Mac before he snapped his ankle.
We'll see.
Um,
Right.
Anyway,
We've got
moving
a lot
on
tonight.
moving on to some 49ers news. Steve
Some
Wilkes
actual
is our new
49ers news.
defensive coordinator. What do you think about this, Phil?
Solid.
I like the hire.
Yeah, solid. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the 49ers show because I don't want it to be overshadowed by the Super Bowl.
49ers
But
show.
we could do a 49ers after dark show if you want, Ollie, at some point where we just talk about like the good old days of the 49ers.
Please.
But yeah, I think it's a really really good hiring. I think it's a hiring unlike say Salah and D'Amico, who felt like stopgaps for bigger things. I can imagine Wilkes being long term.
The thing is,
I think he
Wilkes,
wants to be in the Bay. He's been headhunted to be in the Bay, and I
Yeah.
think he will be with the team for a good 3 to 4 years under this leadership.
I think Wilkes did a good job at Carolina as a
Mhm.
interim head coach, and I can see him going at some point to be a head coach properly again. But
No,
yeah,
I see him staying with the 49ers to potentially be Kyle's replacement in the future.
and if he
That's how I see
potentially wants to bring Brian Burns over from Carolina, I wouldn't be adverse to that.
That guy is a very, very good player and doesn't deserve to be in Carolina.
No, 100%.
But yeah, I mean, he did a great job in Carolina when he took over as an interim coach. It was all a bit of whoa, that's a bit of a left field like internship when he took over. But they were what, 1-4 at the time when he took over?
Yep.
You know, and he's done all right.
He went 6-6.
Exactly, that's a good record. Had
Yeah.
that over the season, they probably would have been 9-8.
I'm very surprised that he did not get the full head coaching job at Carolina and they went with Frank Reich instead, which I think is a very bad decision. But we've talked
It's
about
a
that.
very
in different
safe decision
podcasts.
as well. That one. It is to have him overlooked as the head coach who's literally done wonders with your team, got Sam Darnold playing incredibly well. Is a bit of
Darnold is not the problem.
yeah, it's a really strange. It's a strange one, but you guys like him. I was gonna, you know, it's a solid hire. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted who did I want? The guy that went to Miami. He was supposed to be interviewed. Blanking on his name.
Yeah, Eric.
Fangio, big Fangio.
Oh,
That was
Vic.
it,
Yeah, but he
yeah.
used to be the D coordinator for the 49ers under Jim, didn't he?
Yeah. But, Steve Wilkes is a good hire.
I think this is a better hire, though. Brian Flores.
Yeah, I was surprised Flores wasn't thrown in the mix for the Niners head DC, but I think maybe it was the Shanahan tree and the Belichick tree maybe not meshing.
Brian Flores should have been a head coach. Should have been
Yeah.
in the conversation of head coaching roles.
He
And
should have.
wasn't.
He should never been sacked by Miami. Really,
No, and then he got burnt because
he was suing the
of
NFL.
everything. Because of the NFL and
Well, he was suing them, wasn't he?
yeah,
I think he still
Brian
is.
Belichick accidentally dropped the bomb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's a very good coach. He did really good. He had a winning season every season with Miami. They got better every year as well. They made the playoffs in his last. No, he never made the playoffs, did he, with them? But they got better every time they played. And yet, if he had been given the likes of Terry Kill or what Mike McDaniel had this year,
Oh, he definitely made the playoffs.
I think they would have done further. I think they would have gone further. And then the Mike McDaniel. Because he had 4 years worth of coach. This isn't having a go at Mike McDaniel at all, because I know you guys love him. This isn't me having a go at Mike McDaniel. This is me saying that this guy's had 4 years experience as a head coaching role. He knows the organization. He knows the players. He knows how to get the best out of each player and all this and all that. Adding Tyreek Hill's got that space, adding Mostert, adding Bradley Chubb, adding these few extra pieces they added this year, they seriously would have been a serious Super Bowl contender.
I know Mike McDaniel did add a few pieces, but the core of the team he inherited from Brian Flores. That Brian Flores had built.
Oh, utterly, totally agree with that. But we'll see. We'll see what.
Waddle wasn't a rookie this year, was he? He was a rookie last year.
Second year.
Yeah. Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, second year this year.
But can I ask your opinion on something before we move on?
Go on.
Fire.
What's his? I can't think. The Commanders. Dan Snyder has valued the team at $7 billion. If anybody would like to buy it, what do you think of those numbers?
Overpriced.
Oh yeah, astronomical.
It might get to the
surprised
point
the
where he
Glazers
is
give
forced
in.
to sell to the highest bidder, and he might not necessarily even get his quoting price.
Isn't the most expensive sports team
Franchise.
Isn't it $5 billion?
Yes.
Is it the New York Yankees? Is it? I think.
Dave, Ollie, apparently you can afford it according to Dave.
Where do you think I got? So I've just Googled it. Commander's net worth is 4.9 billion.
You don't want to sell then, does he? So he's jacking the price up. He don't want to sell.
It's like when the Glazers say that they're going to try and sell Man United.
Yes, so Jim Radcliffe.
For 6. No, it's going to some Qatari bidders now, and they've gone, we're not giving you 6 million or 6 billion. Jog on.
It's not even worth it. They're not even the best United in the league.
Here we go.
Where are you in the league?
I think the league would beg to differ.
I think you'll find that the actual United team, i.e. Newcastle, will win more and finish higher than some box. Like, you're not even the biggest team in Manchester. Okay.
Well, trust me, we were. There's a lot more United stuff than there was City stuff. Anyway.
Okay then. Mr. Born and raised in Manchester.
Oh, here we go. Come on, let's not do this.
How can we not bring out the old Wrexham scarves or the TNS scarves?
It's because they're North Wales. Oh, I'm sorry, mister. I was born in the Bay Area.
Oh.
Anyway.
Sorry. Are you from Cleveland, Shane? Because that's the only reason why the Ravens exist.
Anyway, moving on before he starts.
I mean, at least I was born in Manchester and have family there.
Yeah, but you spelled Bolton, mate. And you're proud of it as well, which I'm actually glad. You're proud of being a Bolton fan. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I mean, your raised ever player was a Newcastle legend, so.
What, JJ Kocher?
No, Kevin Nolan, you know it.
I think the Kocher was a little better than Nolan.
Should we talk about Derek Carr?
Yes, let's talk
Yeah.
about Derek Carr.
Visiting the Saints. Obviously, New Orleans is a wonderful city to go to.
I've got something to add on to this.
Go
Only
on.
because I'm just interested. Saints are in cap hell.
Yeah.
Like they're going
Oh
into
my
the
God,
season
yeah.
in insane cap. Are they paying like Michael Thomas like 50-something
Yeah,
million?
Michael Thomas is the biggest cap hit this season with 59 million.
And Derek
But-
Carr is going to go in with a very high, like the trade, like that the potential trade, or even if they pick up his contract in free agency, he is going to get a huge payout this year as well per his contract.
But I
So-
mean,
New Orleans Saints are minus 57 million over
Yeah.
the cap.
teams need to work quick if they want to get Carr, because otherwise, if they don't trade or release Carr by the 15th of Feb, he gets his guaranteed money for this year.
I think wherever Carr goes will be the aftermath of what happens with Rodgers and Minshew, because I think they're going to be the big quarterbacks.
So,
Boys,
Dave
not being-
says he-
not being-
I was with you until you said Minshew. I was
No, all right,
totally
so-
with you.
Whatever, like last season, where everybody was like doing the domino effect of Tom Brady, then Tom Brady came back and went psych. But this year being definite, the biggest move is going to be Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers is going to play next year, but where he's playing is up in
This after
up
his
in the
4-day
green sky.
blackout.
So, Dave, are you saying you don't see Carr going anywhere? You think he's going to stay in
New
Vegas?
Orleans.
Because I think he's made that. Oh, okay. 'Cause
I
was
can
gonna
see
say-
him. I can see him in Indy or Tennessee. New Orleans just doesn't make sense. I mean, they are going to be royally. Sorry, my French here, but they're going to be royally.
I was going to say, I can
Really
imagine him. I can imagine him rocking up at the Saints facility and them offering him a packet of quavers and a Tazbar to play for him.
Because what's going to happen? He's going to get he's going to go to the Saints, and then they're going to have to release everybody with the exception of him and Michael Thomas. So he's going to go to a team that's going to be rebuilding and can't do anything for the next couple of years. So by the time that the Saints can do something, he's already going to be getting ready to retire in his mid-30s. So it makes no like to me. It makes no sense.
I think he will end up at the Jets, provided the Jets don't decide to go all out and get Rodgers, because there is that rumor.
So Dave said Tampa, but Tampa in a 55 million hole as well.
I
Obviously,
really,
a load of that's going to be lost
really
because of.
pray that Tampa roll with Kyle Trask, because I actually think Trask is a really good quarterback.
I think Tampa will end up with Jimmy.
How about Houston?
Ooh.
They've got plenty of picks. They've got a couple of good players there. They need a couple of O-linemen. They need a couple of wide receivers to get that main starting 11. Okay, yes, if they get hits, injuries, they're going to lose players. They're going to struggle. But draft QB or pick up a QB in free agency or take Derek Carr, build around them, take a QB in the draft in 2 or 3 years' time. And Derek Carr's coming to the end of that contract. Let him go because he would have been in the league nearly 10, 12 years. Then you've got a QB who sat behind him for a couple of years, ready to fire with a team that is fully loaded.
I think you need a QB, maybe Carr, if he's happy to sign, if he gets released and he's happy to sign a 1 or 2 year deal. Go get Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, Hendon Hooker, Anthony Richardson. Go and get one of those top QBs. Use your number 2 pick to get a QB. Let him sit behind for a year and then unleash him onto the NFL.
Thank you, Dave.
Can we stop this Patriots collusion, please?
Collusion, good word.
Nothing to do with that at all, mate. Nothing to do with that. I mean,
You're probably there on the Patriots WhatsApp group at the moment.
no, I'm not actually. Not at the moment. There is 2 big players I see. You're going to say 3 players that's going to happen in this QB carousel. What is Aaron Rodgers going to do when he comes out of his black hole?
What is that? 4 days in isolation, isn't it?
4 days, complete blackness. No phone, nothing, no lights, no TV. It is complete darkness. Darkness
Sonic
recluse,
bliss.
I think he's saying. It's something stupid like that. Where's Derek Carr going to go? What's going to happen next Wednesday? Because that's when it needs to be done. And then you've got your backup.
Oh, Jimmy. What about Dave just made a good point. Lamar, does he come into that? Shane?
They're going to French. You're going to French tag him.
Well,
Yeah, but,
from
yeah,
what I've seen on social media, he's still repping his Ravens hats and chains and bits and pieces. He is still very much a part of this team. I think he wants to be, but I think also he wants to be paid the money he thinks he's earned. I don't think he's worth anywhere near that personally, but I think he's got a chip on his shoulder and he's representing himself. So hopefully, yeah, we'll franchise tag him and hopefully we get a deal worked out. Just not for the amount of money that we want.
Would he be willing to play under the tag though? Because Devontae Adams wasn't.
I don't think he's that kind of person. Like I said, from what I've seen and what I've read about him, he is very much a team player. All he wants to do is win a Super Bowl. But the scariest question is, win a Super Bowl with who?
So to franchise tag a quarterback is 30 million. So New York have got a big issue here. You've got Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley both at contract. To franchise tag the running back is 10.6, and to franchise tag the quarterback is 13.2.
I think they're going to franchise tag the quarterback.
Really? Okay.
And I think Saquon's going to stay in New York, but not as a Giant.
He's not going to. He won't cost the green. He won't cost the
Oh
Jets.
no, I know. No, I don't think he's going to be a Jet either. There's one other team in New York you're forgetting about.
Oh God, yeah. Nah, he's not going. He won't. The talk is that he wants to stay in Big Blue. That's the talk. They've got 44 million in cap space, so I would personally franchise tag Saquon because he's going to get a big contract. Running backs are getting big contracts now, and then go to Daniel Jones. Yeah, you're not going to get the 30 million you want, but we can give you X, Y, Z with a nice big signing bonus.
The way I'd handle Daniel Jones is give him a highly incented contract.
Yeah.
Because
Second that.
because he's had one good year. Let's be real. He's had one good year.
Dave agrees with you.
So maybe give him the 30 million. Maybe give him the 30 million. But have it on incentives rather than, a lot of guaranteed money.
What's your opinion, Phil?
I think I see Lamar staying in Baltimore, and I generally don't until Rodgers' destination is decided. I think there's going to be a lot of teams holding off, and I think where he goes will have a knock-on effect to where other people go. And that's generally how I'm feeling about it. I don't want to because who would have thought last year when we all thought that Rodgers was going to go to Denver, where in the 11th hour they pulled the trigger on Wilson, and that came out of absolutely nowhere. And I just think there's going to be a lot of people waiting around to see who blinks first.
I do think there'll be one quarterback deal again this year that nobody sees coming, and just is out of nowhere.
Yeah, there always is. There always is a left field trade of somewhere, isn't there? Like Derek Carr to Baltimore or to San Fran, or someone who's got Detroit is someone who's got a QB who's settled in there and he's happy in there and playing well there.
The team that I think nobody's mentioning that I think actually do need a quarterback is Pittsburgh.
Really? Okay.
Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky did neither of them look convincing enough to me to not warrant to start next season. So the Brady lovers said Brady will return, but he won't. I think he's made that pretty clear.
He's taking weird Instagram pictures of himself in his underwear in his bedroom.
Yeah. See that.
As much as on Tinder again. He's up for Tinder.
Yeah.
Don't know. Oh, boys.
He might want to go into education, and that might be his picture in the dating app for teachers called EduDate. So that the world is his oyster now.
Is that where you met Gemma?
No. I just have teacher friends that have used EduDate, and there's an app for everything. Like there's a dating app for anyone. But yeah, basically Tom Brady has a lot of free time on his hand now, so he's free to go on any platform that he wants.
He's taking his gap year, isn't he?
He's taking his gap year.
Boys, away from Tom Brady's questionable choices, as much as I hate defending the Steelers, right? You can't judge Kenny Pickett on 1 year, and you can't judge Mitch Trubisky on a new offense and a new coach and a new team after just 1 year either.
Dave said, have you seen his so-called missus? I'm guessing you're on about Brady's, not Phil's, because we've all met Phil's missus. She's lovely.
We have met James.
Speak nicely, David, about the current Mrs. Perrins. Thank you very much.
James up with a lot.
The current Mrs. Perrins.
We all have lovely misses, apart from that gentleman.
Anyway,
I'm 24. I have time.
Sure you do.
Gentlemen, we know the big ones, or the NFL plead it as the big one, as the big award ceremony, blah, 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 blah. But we all know the players really want. Yeah, Phil finds it boring, the NFL one. So
sorry, it's been a long day. I'm just waiting for the XFL. I'm actually waiting for the XFL, so keep going, gents. Keep going.
Tonight is the players what they really, 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 really want. Ollie, you're going to be in charge of the pictures.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that just to check I've not made a mistake uploading them all?
Yes, so I could right. Let's start with comeback player of the year. With 45% of the votes, he took his team to the wild card where they got lost to that one and that one.
They got, can you rephrase that? Got crushed by.
He took them where he got beaten by you. Play nicely. It's
we
an
took
award
them to church. We took them to church, Ollie, and they didn't like their pedants.
It was probably one of the nicest quarterbacks in the league, and it was Mr. Yay! It worked. Geno Smith.
Geno.
Quarterbacks. Yeah, with 45% of the votes.
Well done, Gino.
Really, really good. It was actually, to be fair, great one.
Well done, Gino. Enjoy another year in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
So is he going to be able via satellite to collect his award then, or
he can't be with us in person, but he's asked myself if I can receive the award on his behalf. So I'd like to thank everybody for voting, and I'm just going to put the award in the bin.
In the bin.
So Kenny thinks that's an odd choice.
And she knows a thing or two about odd choices.
Sick burn. Fully honest sarcasm is unreal. No, it's not sarcasm. It's passive aggression. Come on.
What it is.
Okay. On to coach of the year. I want to say second year coach in Philadelphia. Yeah, second. I almost gave it away then. Second year coach.
Somewhere.
Dragged his team all the way to the Super Bowl from being a number 3 or 4 pick. Probably their GM should be up there for the absolute stunning trade that they managed to pull on draft night. They are in the Super Bowl with 37% of the votes. It was not Nick Sirianni.
And just to be clear, Nick Sirianni knows what he's doing.
Knows what the F he's doing as he's running down the touchline. Yes, he does.
Dude, can you imagine winning a third and long podcast award and a Super Bowl in the space of a couple of days?
I'd call it a Hall of Fame career. I'd call it a Hall of Fame career.
100%.
Oh, all day long. I mean, he'll have something that John Madden will never have. That's a third long award.
Watch out, we might start giving out Lifetime Achievement Awards, and he'd be first on the list for that.
I'll be the next one now.
We've got to make sure we give the right ones, not do what the Oscars do and name the wrong one and give it to the other one.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a gentleman below me who would probably remember that under the Oscars last year.
La
La Land.
It was a couple of years ago, wasn't it now?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. A couple of years. Defensive Rookie of the Year. So he was number 4 pick overall this year. Led the league in least touchdowns, in least yardage, least pretty much everything that a defensive back can have. With 63% of the votes, it's the only thing that New York have won this season. It is Sauce Gardner,
Oh,
and I'm really
God.
disappointed you didn't
He
get
is
his hat on.
so good. He is so
Class.
good.
Absolute class. What a guy.
Right, I'm gonna eat very much humble pie here because I was watching him during the combine and just thinking, this guy looks so lazy.
Yeah, you did not think he was good.
Not think he's good at all. I mean, I think I had him going. Yes, I had him going first round because that's what everyone had him at, and I think I had him going late first round. I just
did.
didn't think he was that good.
I had him
going.
going. I think I had him going number 3 overall in my draft.
Yeah. It is offensive rookie of the year time. Wasn't starting running back for his team until the RB1 goes down. Ended up having over 1,000 yards rushing.
Somebody Ollie was very high on coming out of the draft.
Very, very high on. We profiled him in our rookie series for the draft series, prospect series, whatever, we can't remember what we called it that then.
I think it was draft prospect series.
That's the puppy. With 69% of the votes, it is KW3. This guy has literally his thighs
Exploded.
and his upper legs are the size of my waist. Huge.
Big lad.
I think we've got to give Seattle GM.
I can't believe the chickens have got 2 awards in this.
I was under the impression there would be somebody else to win offensive rookie of the year. But let me just
I
say,
actually can't believe it. I mean, I'm never going to slate our listeners that much because I respect all of our listeners. But however, man, you massively dropped the ball on this. Like seriously, big up Brock, and you didn't even like. Oh my god, he would have won the Super Bowl if it wasn't for just
Phil, you know what you call that, don't you? A cock block. Yeah, I'm here all night. Anyway, moving on.
Well, that's what he said. Never leave it down to the people.
you people are fickle. Fickle.
Let's get this one done. Led the lead in sacks. Had 52% of the vote. He's named it. Defensive player of the year. Yeah.
What a beast. What a man.
Phil signs off.
I think I just leave this here for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Nah, let's not. I mean,
I'm slightly suspect about his facial hair. I think he could do better with the facial hair department, but yeah.
At least he's got a smaller nose as his brother. His brother's nose is massive.
I mean, would you ever say that to their face, though, Wally? Like, yeah, Nick, you've got a tiny nose, you poser.
I
Who said that?
The other side of the field.
you guys do realise this is on the internet and they could see it.
I'm praising him. I'm praising him. I love you, poser.
If he's watching, I'll shake his hand.
We'll do this. The Eagles. Whoops.
Kelly's just said, I mean, you will cry if he doesn't win the actual award, Ollie.
True that.
Well, let's put something here. Ollie set up 15 Twitter accounts just so he can vote for Nick.
I mean, my name says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think all he goes to bed at night, kneels by his bed in his Nick Bosa pajamas with his Nick Bosa bedspread, his Nick Bosa pillow, and his Nick Bosa shaped body pillow, so he can cut you at night as well.
That sounds about right. Right. Okay. Offensive player of the year.
Onto Shane's man crush.
I'm going, but Brett's mine. Everyone knows Brett's mine.
Offensive player of the year. This guy. I mean, we were all shocked, annoyed, dumbfounded when he didn't win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He is constantly playing a chip on his shoulder, and I'm sure it was him who invented the griddy. With 67% of the votes, it is Jay Jetter's Justin Jefferson.
Unbelievable player. What a guy. I'm so jealous of the fact that the Vikings got him and we haven't. He's absolutely brilliant.
And you say you don't have a man crush?
Well, no, I'm just a fan. I mean, I can respect ability when I see it, you know.
Right.
The next is mascot of the year, which this guy won. Just
Tony Khan's buddy.
Oh, I wish they had that. I really wish they had that mascot of the year, because that guy would win it every year.
Well, I think they should do what at the Pro Bowl. I think they should do what they do at the cricket, which is the mascot race.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Like they did with the lineman, where they got to run through the actual.
Yeah. It's like
balls.
it's like a obstacle course thing at the cricket every year on finals day. They have a mascot race.
They do it for the Grand National, one of the race events, don't they? They have the mascot national or something like that. It's called, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. MVP.
Hutch
Go on,
winning. Apparently, Hutch was winning the Pepsi Rookie of the Year. Apparently.
Yeah, I saw that today.
Yes,
I saw that. Well,
yeah,
as well.
yes, I've seen that one. Yeah, that guy is a beast, and he is going to take whoever wins Defensive Player of the Year. He will take that crown next year. Mark my words, and I'm going to go and I will be putting a couple of quid on him to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Do you want to bet that? You want to bet on that, Ollie?
What? That he'll win Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Can we wait until September when we'll see what happens back then? Right, MVP. This was this was probably the closest.
Kelly just said, I did vote about 600 times. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, love that.
And I also voted the other 600. So this was the closest of the two. It is between the two Super Bowl finalists, two Super Bowl quarterbacks, the two probably outstanding quarterbacks of the year. He has led in touchdowns thrown. He was in the top 5 of passing yards this year, top 5 in most of the quarterbacks awards this year, with 39% of the votes. I have a very happy son upstairs. It is Paddy Mahomes, otherwise known as Kermit the Frog.
Well deserved as well. Well deserved. Fantastic player.
Could he win MVP and the Super Bowl MVP in the space of 5 days?
Yes.
Tune in Sunday to find out, I guess.
Yes, and I think he will.
Yeah, he is a, I know people really don't like him, but he is a very, very good talent. A special talent that we have in this league.
I mean, he's in his 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years?
That's incredible.
Yeah. He's been to the AFC 5 times in 6 years.
Kelly hopes he doesn't actually get there. Why does Hertz deserve it more?
Because I hate Kansas more.
Why does Hertz deserve it more?
Because I'm good, all right.
because I hate them more.
Right. Thank you very much all for the voting. There was actually huge amounts of votes.
Wow, thank you guys.
But there was a decent amount of votes on there. And we are very grateful for everyone who's voted. We will undoubtedly put these all up on Twitter and tag every single player in it so they know they have won the important awards. The ones they really want. But now it is time for Phil's This Week in Football.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen.
I couldn't help it. I don't know. I do some sound effects on you.
Just for Kelly's comeback saying, because he had an unexpected standout season and Mahomes is just consistently good, so it's boring.
She has a point.
Yeah.
So Harry Kane winning PFA Player of the Year every year isn't boring.
It's like when Steven Gerrard kept winning it.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Okay.
Anyway, this week in football.
So, this week in football history, I've got to give a massive shout out to our Shane Harris, who may like or not like what is coming his way.
You.
On the 8th On the 8th of January, many, many moons ago, the Cleveland Browns were formed in 1998. What's that, you say? The Cleveland Browns are one of the longest tenured football teams in the NFL. You might be right, but let me cast your votes way back when. Now, at one point, ladies and gentlemen, especially for you millennials and you Gen Zers out there, the Cleveland Browns used to be good on a consistent basis. Now, before the NFL was formed, there was this one-time promotion called the All-America Football Conference, which the Browns dominated in the 1940s. And then came along the National Football League, which in the early days, the Browns dominated. And then they sucked throughout the 70s. They got marginally better where they went to 3 AFC championship games in a row, losing all 3 times to the Denver Broncos, who then went on to lose all 3 Super Bowls. But that's a different story for another day. And then at some point, one of the world's most evilest owners. Now we talk about Dan Snyder being an evil owner, but let's talk about Art Modell. Now, Art Modell, who owned the Cleveland Browns at that one point, decided to take his franchise to Baltimore. Oh my God. Which meant that Cleveland for 3 years had no football team, but the Baltimore Ravens was hiring players like Trent Dilfer for their franchise. And then, as part of the NFL expansion team, which included the likes of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Cleveland were given their franchise again, and they were allowed to call it the Cleveland Browns. So when we think about historical teams and historical moments in the NFL, like we do every single year and every single week that we go through this kind of process, the Cleveland Browns being formed for a second time happened so many moons ago in 1998.
Hey, the year I was born.
Yeah, so you're as old as the Cleveland Browns version too.
Terrifying thought.
But it's actually so weird that for 3 years the Browns didn't exist. Because Art Modell wasn't allowed to. He was allowed to move his franchise, but he wasn't allowed to take the name with him. Hence why they went to Baltimore, and the Ravens were created. Because don't forget, Baltimore didn't have a team because the Colts bolted many years ago. Prior to that, but obviously, I mean, Art Modell owned the Browns for many years, and then he owned the Ravens up until the day he died in 2012. But yeah, it's just a weird. I think it's because it doesn't happen so much in our country when it comes to sports, with the exception being the MK Dons moving from Wimbledon to Milton Keynes. It doesn't really happen because like football teams or our soccer teams are so associated with the towns and the cities that they take place in. Now, we forget that American franchises can bounce around quite a lot. So
The best part of that as well, they moved in the middle of the night. No one knew about it.
Yep.
They went to bed, their team was there. They woke up in the morning, their team was gone.
yeah.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Rams
they weren't
moved
allowed
quite
to build a
well, haven't
stadium,
they?
were they?
No.
Exactly.
So yeah, just that's the only news I want to talk about this week in football. I just think it was absolutely huge, and I got to thank Shano for bringing it to my attention again, because a really good source of like my information is I follow on Twitter and Facebook the Pro Football Hall of Fame page, and throughout the week they'll post like Hall of Fame moments or legendary plays from certain games, and they are a really good source of a lot of the information that I've used this year. And I saw that on their page, Shano, not long after you sent it to us in the group.
I was going to say, I thought you'd appreciate it because, like 1996, the Ravens were formed. And if anybody out there does want to know more about teams moving cities and players trading teams, watch the movie Basketball and then come back to me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good film. That was really good film. We will do obviously our main Super Bowl show on Sunday, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. We won't be doing a podcast, but it would be just live on those 3-4 platforms. But we're going to do a preview of a preview. Yeah, that'll do. Trying to work it out. Obviously, this is, quite, the biggest sporting fixture on the American side of the soil. One of the biggest sporting events of the year. You've got like the most watched, the most expensive adverts is what, 7 million for a 37 advert at a halftime show. You can have Rihanna there. You know,
Here's a really weird stat. In 2009, the world record for the most toilets flushing in a minute was the first minute of the halftime in the 2009 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
That's the most stupid fact. And then you've got, I mean, this is a very historic Super Bowl for one reason only and one reason only. It's the first time that you're going to have two black quarterbacks starting.
Yeah.
I'd also like to talk
Crazy.
about the fact that it's in Phoenix. I mean, this is the third Super Bowl in Phoenix, and the other two it's had has been pretty good.
Oh, yes.
It had
As a
the
state,
it had the helmet catch.
Cheers for that.
Don't worry, I'm coming back, and it had the Malcolm Butler interception.
Oh, yes.
So it looks like, so if you look at like history, this should be a pretty good game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, two very, very attacking quarterbacks, very attacking offensives in general, and the trenches are going to be incredible. Those O-line and D-line battles are going to be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
As a bit of a bit of a stadium mark myself, I'm a big fan of like interesting stadiums, architecture, that sort of thing. The State Farm Stadium, I don't like the look of it. It reminds me of Granny Gray, if anybody knows what that is. You know, I'm showing my my family's upbringing again. Yeah, it reminds me of Granny Gray. Yes, yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And the fact that they had WrestleMania in it a couple of years ago as well, and the inside of it, I just didn't like the look of it. But you know, I don't get the stadiums for the big games, so you know, it should be good.
It does bring a good atmosphere in there, just not for Arizona.
No.
I mean, it is going to be a brilliant game. I mean, we will have our predictions, our usual thing. We've got our key battles, key matchups to talk about on Sunday as well. We are going to have a really, really good show. Unfortunately, there's a gentleman sitting below me who's decided to go to Amsterdam. He's going to the red light district, so he's going to try and earn some extra. He's going to try and earn some extra money.
They've got some good TVs down there, all right. So don't you sit there as a privileged man, Ollie, and criticize the working girl for trying to actually get by in this tough work.
Sully my reputation.
How dare you besmirch one of the oldest professions in the world, Ollie?
No, you're going to go get behind the glass and get some extra money.
What? No, that's the blue. That's the blue light. The blue.
Oh, okay, the blue light. Sorry. I apologize.
Well, I mean, he needs to because he's busy striking as a teacher, isn't he?
Oh my god! Woo! Make fun of the teachers! Woo!
You know, they're on half term next week and they're meant to be striking. He can't. He's just going to strike on half term.
I'm not striking a half term. Start that off, man.
They're going to be striking by going into school and teaching.
Like, honestly, 5 o'clock tomorrow. Once my school day is finished and my film club is finished, I'm gonna put my out of office off, and I'm just gonna like have a passive aggressive email as like part of my out of office, and I'm not gonna look at it again until I go back to school on the following Monday.
Super Bowl, baby. So yeah, it's gonna be. Let's talk back about the Super Bowl. You know, it's gonna be. I'm generally really looking forward to this one.
Me too.
Yes, there's a team that I would, all four of us would love our team to be in there, and we would love that to happen.
So some go closer than others.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We move on. Otherwise, we're going to be here forever. I don't want to go back talking about Purdy winning us the Super Bowl because David will come out with some passive aggression.
Yeah, it's going to be an offensive fired Super Bowl, so it should be high scoring. But the Eagles led the lead in sacks. They had 67 sacks in the lead, and Kansas had 57.
Yeah.
I've seen a stat where, bar AJ Brown, the last 10 first-round picks first picks of Philadelphia are all in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Both the Chiefs and the Eagles have somebody that was nominated for Defensive Player of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year. And MVP.
And this is the only time I'm going to mention it. It's Kelsey Bowl.
It is.
Yes. Is
this
mean,
the first set of brothers to play against each other in the Super Bowl?
That I don't know. They
Because I
didn't.
know
I mean, I've listened to their podcast this week, and they had their mum on it, and their mum's brilliant.
I know the McCourty brothers played together, but I'm wondering if they're the first set of brothers to play against each
I
other.
think it probably is. To be fair, I wouldn't be surprised. But they're absolutely superb. Shayna, you look like you're about to speak.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we wrap the pod up for tonight, there was a question posed on our official Twitter page. Basically, we've had a few answers from a couple of the fans. Quick fire around the room. What was your or has been your favorite Super Bowl halftime performance, and who would you like it to be in future, or your dream act then? One of the answers that we did have was Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that was my sister.
Which was nice.
And
Phil, what do you reckon, Phil?
Well, as a halftime show, so I mentioned, I think it was off air last week, that the ones that stand out to me is obviously Prince being the absolute GOAT performance. I've watched it in its entirety. You can watch it on YouTube. But I really, and this is really odd. He was one of these performers that my dad and my mom had listened to, but I hadn't really ever listened to until I watched him perform during the halftime show. And it was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Ooh. His halftime show is bloody brilliant. Like American Girl, Free Falling, he's bangers. And ever since that halftime show, I've just been a big fan of Tom Petty. So I think Prince is the GOAT, but the Tom Petty show was exceptional. Who I'd like to see in the future, I'm a massive heavy metal, glam rock kind of guy. I actually would have loved to have seen at some point Kiss, but that window of opportunity is shut now. Because I think Kiss would make an amazing show. I don't know. What big rock acts now would I think would put on a great all-encompassing halftime show? Ooh.
I know, and I hope you don't nick it.
I know who you're going to say, Ollie.
Mine already.
I know who Ollie's going to say.
I'm trying to think, who's a big rock act now? I don't want to say Coldplay because, oh my god, whoever suggests Coldplay.
Oh, you
whoever's going to say Coldplay clearly doesn't understand music. No, I can't. I've not got one. Maybe like a rock medley involving David Lee Roth and maybe some other artists from the 80s and the early 90s. That would be fun. Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters would be an excellent.
Oh, you've just taken Ollie's.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
Honestly, I'm just going, bands from the 90s. Yeah, Nirvana. Oh my god, Foo Fighters are still going. Yeah, Foo Fighters would be my pick. I'm sorry. Zip.
So, I agree with both of what he's just said.
Yeah.
Prince was probably the first proper halftime show I saw, and he's literally the first two chords of Purple Rain started playing, and it literally started raining. It's like he couldn't have planned it any better. Superb. Last year's Super Bowl was epic. Halftime show, with Dre, Snoop, Eminem, 50, kind of Kendrick Lamar, and all that.
Mary J.
Blige. Mary J. Blige. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome.
I didn't think Kendrick Lamar's bit was very good, but I thought the best.
And the Ghost of Tupac, by the way, the Ghost of Tupac.
Yeah, the Ghost of Tupac.
Oh my god, yeah. Foos would be awesome. Think of the amount of bands that Dave Grohl's been involved with: Nirvana, Queens of the Stone Age, Tenacious D. I've heard so many other bands. He's collaborated so many different people. Where he's drummed on them, and you don't know. Them Crooked Vultures is another one where they had the super band of they had the lead singer from Queens. They had guitars from other bands. All this, that would just be epic. Dave Grohl to lead a super band on doing Go With the Flow and Everflow and DOA and things like that would be
Mine's going to be such a different vibe to you guys. So the two I want to talk about, as I think I said last week, I really like Coldplay's.
Yeah.
Coldplay's.
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 I also think Bruno I always think Bruno Mars's was very good, where he brought on the Red Hot Chili Peppers with it.
Yes.
As for ones I'd like to see in the future, everyone knows I'm a big Ed Sheeran fan.
Oh,
Jesus, no wonder you were single.
But another one.
Sorry, boy, I love you. I'm kidding. I swear, like I'm out of nowhere.
My other half knows him so well.
I was actually going to say something else.
Can't believe you just said that live on air.
I'm not sure if they're together, but I think Green Day would be great.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine?
Wish I don't know.
My little emo sense just became alive.
So I think Green Day would do a great show.
Especially when one of the songs is called "Wake Me Up When September Begins" or September
Yes,
Ends.
yes, very good.
So
Very good.
I would like to see Ed Sheeran, and I will say, just to feature, I would like to see Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Okay.
My other half predicted it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right, I see your Taylor Swift and raise you a female artist who's considerably better and actually would put on a better show. Avril Lavigne.
That would be great.
Like Skater Boy, Girlfriend, Complicated, like banger after banger after banger.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I know a Green Bay Packer fan who is an Avril Lavigne fan. So just imagine if Rogers got there and Avril Lavigne was like.
But Rogers got there with the Raiders instead.
Hey.
Boys, so my favorite halftime performance was 12:32. In 2001, it was the legendary Aerosmith, and something that many people don't know, I'm a bit of a boy band fan as well. It was Aerosmith and NSYNC. Fantastic. What a show that was. And not even I got goosebumps just talking about it. And my ideal headliner for the Super Bowl, which could have happened in the 80s, to be fair, would have been Queen.
Oh.
Oh.
You can even do it now.
Just Tim Taylor's go, no.
Exactly. You got a stadium for 1,000.
Or when they start doing the.
Kelly finally wants the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, yes. We can all dream, Cal. We can all dream.
Quality.
Awesome. We will cover more of Super Bowl 57 on Sunday night. I believe we're going live at 8:30.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked the question because that hadn't been confirmed.
Sorry, but...
Yeah. So yeah, we will be back live on our streaming sites of Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. I had to really think then. I've got so many now. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a really good award show tonight. Lots of love. As award
I feel like we should have turned up in like tuxedos.
Oh my god, we should do that next year. Or when we do the draft, when we do like a fantasy football draft. And we do the draft live on the show. Oh my god.
We did that last year.
Look at him now. Look at him. Look at him.
With the first pick. Oh my god. Right. So any of our listeners, I think I might have talked it before. Have you watched the show? It's on Netflix. It's called The League. It's a sitcom about a bunch of friends. Yeah. We could literally just do things like that. We'll do like contests to see who gets the first pick of the draft. Yeah, I love The League. Great show. Great show.
I'm the commissioner here. I'll decide what goes on.
All right, Giselle. I'm going to be your Al Davis in this league then.
He's still going to win the draft, win the league. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back pre-Super Bowl show on Sunday, 8:30, maybe. A little bit later than that. Thank you very much for joining in. Ladies and gentlemen, see you Sunday and stay safe.